Building Committee for the police station and call it to order, and I will turn it over to Taylor.
Yep. So the plan is today is to go through the updated PowerPoint that we went through last time. Then we have a couple, we can talk schedule and some owner vendor stuff after, but this is pretty much the crux of our meeting today is to go through this and run through what we went over last time. So I'll hand it over to Andy.
Thanks. So this is public outreach take two. So a couple weeks ago was long and drawn out, but I thought it would be because I was looking for your input, which I got a lot of good input. And that input basically is more dynamic, more concise, a change on some of the focus that I put on. And that's about it. So I have a new presentation. It's more precise, a little more dynamic. It's not there yet, but it's getting closer. And I think after this one we can at least circulate it by email and start having specific comments, and then we'll get there. So the other idea I had is that we possibly, for the outreach, we need a good place to present this. Something like, I've had the best luck in spaces like Freetown Lakeville Middle School's auditorium, where this can get real big. And if we do have a venue like this, we could turn this into like a 10 to 12 minute video, where where the narration is always the same, all the photos are always the same, everything's very clear, concise, human error is taken out. And you play the video, and then it's question and answer. The biggest disasters is if you go too long with this and don't leave enough time for question and answer, and there's unanswered questions. So that's an idea, is to take this and make it into a video with all the same content. It'd be the same every time. Then we could hold as many sessions as you wanted. You just need the right venue to.
I like that idea.
To play
I like that idea a lot.
And you can play it, you put it on the website, you can play
Exactly.
it, you can put it on the
Yeah.
televisions, you can play it, so.
Yeah.
And then you're right, you're not saying different things each time.
All that, and it's done right, and you can use it for all the venues Taylor just talked about, plus the public outreach where it's face-to-face, where you answer questions. Okay? So
yep.
You should think about that. So we'll just open up with a slide now that really just shows the rendering, the name of the building, and I've come up with a subtitle called Built on a Proud Past with a Solid Plan for the Future, the Freetown Police Station. So as people are walking in, we have a nice dynamic view up on the screen. We have quite a few to choose from. This is the one I have up here now. But something that, well, you know, sometimes this is frozen up there for 20 minutes as people come in. You could also have it change views as people are waiting. So the new police station, for more than 1 year, the Freetown Police Station Building Subcommittee has been working with architects, engineers, and other professionals developing the design for a new police station that will serve the Freetown population for the next 50 years and beyond. This presentation will summarize the process of this effort and what we need to do as a community to turn this project into a finished building that we all can be proud of. Slide is slow for some reason. I don't know why it comes in with a transition. So this is one of the ideas we talked about, is getting rid of the patch and the solid object, and now we just have a background. It's going to drop. There we go. And one more time. Okay. Topics reviewed in this presentation. I cleaned this up, and what I did here is I put the major points I want to hit in caps and bold. This was in the form of questions before. I didn't like that. Now it's just topics reviewed in this presentation, need for the new police station, existing station and why it should not be renovated, program for the new police station, site of the new police station, appearance of the new police station, construction of the new police station, size of the new police station, comparison with other municipalities' stations, cost of the new police station. And each one of these now I've taken and handled separately, each one of these categories.
Do you want to, I mean, do you want to just say new police station, or new police station and community room, or how do you? what do you
Yeah, that's a
think?
good idea. I talk about that in here, but that's a good idea.
Let's sell it as a group, as two things that are joined together,
Okay,
as opposed to just the station. It's part of.
good. I like that.
The only thing that I get caught on, it's existing station and what happened with the middle school and instead of not to be renovated than it was. So I think, I don't know, make it too long, but existing station, why should not be renovated for a police station?
Right,
Because we might renovate it for something else.
right.
So we don't wanna say this is impossible, to reuse it, because that's what got caught on the, what's his name, Paul's not here, but that was one of the problems with the middle school.
Right, we talked
And
about,
then it was,
okay.
renovated.
I like that.
You know,
Why it should not be renovated?
should be read as for
For
As
the
a
police
police
station,
Yeah.
that's really important, because, they'll throw it back at us later, oh, I thought you couldn't be used, it's gonna be used for seniors, redone for seniors, so that's why it shouldn't be renovated. Not big enough, isn't it?
Well, you set the stage the other week, 2 weeks ago, talking about how it would have to be renovated also.
Yes.
In order to make it. And I mean, if anybody didn't pick up on that was a mega bucks proposition.
Yes, and I focus more on that now instead of the horror show pictures. Need. While the need for law enforcement personnel is greater than ever, the facility that our offices work out of is out of date and not conducive to I will now say a police renovation, a police station renovation. So now I've got a scan of the original prints, which for the presentation, we're gonna Photoshop this. We'll trace over it, get it nice and clean.
Yeah, get the lines thick.
Right, so, I wanted to talk about the existing station is 3,083 square feet. Total, as it exists. The plan is linear with a main corridor that runs right down the center and another one perpendicular for the public entry. This structure is a slab on grade with two main bearing walls that run down the middle. Trusses run this way, come over and bear on these 2 points in the middle and the outside wall. These are block walls, reinforced CMU walls. So the plan is this line of structure that the trusses bear on. That's what gives it that roof form that you can see outside. Be very difficult to wipe out all these CMU walls. You would have to brace the roof and then re-support it in all those different points. So very difficult plan to expand on. All the walls are block, very linear with just this hall. So then putting an addition on to one of the sides, you'd have to knock out a big block of the wall. So it's a difficult plan to expand because of how it's built structurally. Oops.
Yeah, it would have been good to have that up first,
Yeah.
existing.
So here's size. This now takes the floor plan I just told you about, and in scale puts it next to the ground level of the new station, to give you an idea of the size differential of the 3,000 square feet they're working on now versus the 13,000 square feet. Again, I'll pop out the old one more. Lack of space, lack of meeting space. There's no meeting space whatsoever. The break room is currently being used for this purpose. What I want to do now is focus on the lack of space as the main point. Lack of workspace. There's a lack of workspace for cleaning weapons, writing reports, research, and evidence processing. The break room is currently being used for this purpose. Lack of interview space. Lack of proper toilets. Lack of proper locker rooms. Currently, there is no female locker room.
We ought to really highlight that.
Lack of storage area, weapons storage, ammunition storage, evidence storage, paper file storage, administrative supplies storage, and lack of a training room. The break room is currently used for this also.
What is the size of the break room? Roughly, I mean,
The existing,
yeah,
that's that multi-purpose.
so I mean, what would,
It's right here.
What, 300 square feet?
Let me make sure I'm oriented right. It's right here. This is processing. This is the break room right here.
yeah.
So this dimension here is 42 feet across here. So this is another 8. What's 42 minus 8? That's 34. And half of 34?
17.
17.
So it's about 17 by 14. It's a bedroom.
Okay,
238.
Yeah.
Done in 300.
You can't even tell because there's only so much floor space right
Yeah,
there.
there isn't any,
You
yeah.
can't really tell how big the room is.
That's right.
It's less than that, because,
The fridge takes up the
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
The fridge, the
Yeah, regular-
desk, the file
the
cabinets.
wall comes out there,
That's
right?
right. It does.
What's
yeah,
that?
that's
No, we're
good.
saying it's less than that because the wall kicks in for the electrical room.
I think, yeah, and that was an alteration from the original plan, right?
Right.
They
So
petitioned
it's
that
less
off.
than 17 by 14. That's good that you've got it like these pictures right here.
Right, so now, I focused on the lack of space pictures, and this, what you're seeing here is the break room, which is really the break room, evidence processing room, report room, gun cleaning room, and roll call. And over here, we can see some evidence processing going on. I'm not sure what's on that scale. What's on that scale? And over here, we're getting ready to clean a handgun on the same table.
Somebody should have put a
Yeah, say
sandwich.
put a grinder right in the middle of that.
On the scale.
You laugh.
I know.
So we had a bunch of these pictures last time, and we talked about maybe getting a human figure in there, but I chose these two to show what the typical office is being used for as far as shared space and storage. One of the big problems is this lack of storage space. The attic space is being used for storage, and it was not designed for storage, either structurally or space-wise. Here's one of those trusses. The bearing points that I talked about were here, and material has just been placed between the webs of the trusses, and that's how it's accessed. That's how the storage is accessed to that pull-down.
Not only was it not designed, those are fire hazards.
And here's some evidence storage. I think this picture speaks for itself because you can see that it's outside and separate from the building in a shed. I think that's where I fell on the ice when I came to see you out there.
I know.
And the final one for lack of space is armory and firearms licensing room. So that takes place. Are we still interested in getting a person in these pictures? Yeah, we talked about that last time.
I think it tells the story, just
Okay.
Of course, it would look, if I was in there and they took the pictures, it would look a hell of a lot worse.
A hell of a lot smaller?
That's right.
Just use that small storage.
Oh, and that's dispatch and records office. We do have someone in that one. I don't know if we want to use that one or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all tells the story.
Then safety hazards and current code violations. Holding cells that do not meet current codes, unsafe booking area, inadequate communications, security hazards, no sally port, and handicap accessibility violations. Outdated holding cells. This is a list of suicide hazards in a cell block that has been identified by the Mass Department of Public Health. Toilet fixtures not equipped with anti-suicide skirts, holes in bench in all cells, bed supports exposed in all cells, slits in sink spouts in all cells, gap between bench and wall in all cells, wall ventilation grills in cells, and food slots are accessible in the cells. And this is the processing booking area. So you can imagine that you bring the, can you call him a prisoner at that point?
Sure,
Sure.
detainee.
You bring the detainee in, sit him in the chair, and you handcuff him to the wall right there. The chair is not even secured to the floor.
That's because we gotta get to the yellow footprint so we can take his
We're
picture.
gonna move it and have, take pictures.
That definitely look good people.
Then you get all that equipment to the right, that just,
That's right.
That was nice and neat.
You want,
though.
what, you,
All you have
what,
to do is stand up.
who's
and
gonna
take it.
volunteer to be the detainee? I think this slide should have been before, yeah. That's pictures of the holding cell.
Yeah, we need to go back with it.
So that would have been right, that would be right after the holding cell, it's out of order. But you see the bed with the holes in it? Now, is that really what secures a door?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Way out of code and it's way out of date.
What is
Be a good advertisement for Master
Not
Lock.
a print.
My shed today was scared.
Did the door just stop working?
the door's mechanisms were defective. The prisoners could shake the door and it would open. I forget who caught one guy putting his sneakers on, ready to leave. Probably, Charlie, you were on back then. when
Yeah, I don't remember
Somebody was
exactly.
putting their,
Just
sitting in the chair putting their sneakers on.
With the door
Oh,
open?
yeah, yes. In the booking room, right into the booking room.
Outdated underside structural, mechanical, and electrical systems. I've eliminated a lot of these, just to focus on a few.
That looks bad enough.
Yeah, so this view here is showing these trusses again. Here's the bearing wall that I talked about where they bear. And you can see that most of the insulation has long since been gone. And what's interesting is the ductwork is above the insulation.
And the traces of mold.
There's traces of mold in there, and then you can see that this pipe is leaking or condensing, and/or condensing.
That's the one that used to flood into the electrical room,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
This is more showing, you know, the outdated equipment and the server cabinets, and again, the lack of insulation and wiring.
Evidence of rodents too up there?
Yours.
Existing building envelope issues. The existing building problems consist of water infiltration, poor insulation, inefficient HVAC, rodent infestation, poor ventilation, an atypical building form or roof line, which makes it difficult to add on to, and freezing pipes.
You still have frozen pipes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So why should the building not be renovated for a police station? Existing exterior walls are plain concrete blocks filled with vermiculite insulation. These walls are porous and absorb moisture.
Yeah.
Current roof line and ceiling heights are not conducive to adding new mechanical services. So you really, be very tough to raise that roof height when it's trusses that bear on those two interior points that I talked about. Existing windows have broken seals and weather stripping. The geometry of we talked about this, the geometry of the plan is linear and does not lend itself well to additions. Now, if we turn this into a video, the diagrams could be coming up as we're speaking, and the pictures would just come in quick,
That'd be awesome.
in and out, rather than this linear presentation I have, that you have to choose an order, whereas it'd be nice when we're seeing the floor plan now to understand that linear layout that the building has.
Have you done a video before? Or
Yes.
have you- Okay, so do you guys produce it yourself, or do you have a company that you've worked with?
Most of the times, a lot of them have these cable access guys now in town,
Yeah.
and they're very good, and that's what I've done. So, and what I've done in the past now is that I've worked with the Adam Kitchen from Swansea, who's his guy, and he's worked as a consultant to me for pretty cheap money in other towns that didn't have anybody.
Yeah.
The most recent one I did is the Swansea Library. That was, the building, committee chair, did the narration. They kind of sat in the studio and they selected a high school senior. And they sat and talked about it, and we had a lot of stuff coming in. So, would the chair be interested in starring in a video?
Hell no.
Building is, but it's a good idea. The videos are very
Yeah,
effective,
yeah.
and it's always the same, and you know the exact time
Yeah,
of it.
that's what I like about it, especially if you're planning to do multiple sessions.
Mhm.
Yes.
It makes,
And we already have all the info, really.
yeah,
It's
it
just
makes
a
it
matter
easy
of
to plan.
The building is not conducive to running new plumbing waste lines under the existing slab on grade. This is just a slab on grade. The existing building can remain operational during the construction of the new station, and the town will not have to pay for any temporary services. The building is not equipped with a fire service line, storage system, there should be a comment there, storage system, interior sprinklers, and a proper smoke detection system. Building is not conducive to receive a second story because it does not have any existing vertical circulation such as a stair and an elevator. Program. The new design began by establishing a program based on a rigorous space needs assessment, with data collected via a 50-page questionnaire completed by the Freetown Police Department. Using the needs assessment information and information gathered in meetings with the police chief, the building commission, and professional consultants, a program was developed. This program is based on actual current needs and realistic projections into the future. This program is not simply copied from a similar building in a neighboring town. This program has been custom designed for Freetown's specific needs today and 50 years into the future. With rising construction costs, we do not want to have to expand again in the near future. Site. Our design has been carefully laid out to take advantage of the proposed site using the attic concept. Because the site slopes upwards from Chase Road, we have developed a design that takes advantage of pedestrian vehicular access on two levels, the ground level and the attic level. The ground level houses the majority of the program functions, while the upper level contains the auxiliary service spaces with copious room for future expansion. Future expansion will take place in the attic level without having to extend the footprint. The attic also affords the opportunity to store all of the archived police documents on site. This use of the attic space is efficient and will save money in the future. Although an elevator is not being installed as part of this original build-out, the floor plan, foundation, and structure are being designed to accommodate one in the future. So a few bullet points on the site. The police station has been designed specifically for a site that is located at the corner of Memorial Drive and Chase Road, directly across the street from Memorial Park. The pros: it's town-owned land. It's adjacent to the existing police station. It's adjacent to the existing elementary school. It's centrally located with reasonable emergency response time. It's a compatible land use for that area and has reasonable traffic conditions. Cons: many large boulders, slopes upwards from Chase Road and will require retaining wall construction, no town water or sewer, and no natural gas. Oops, there it is. There we go. Has good solar orientation. The long slope of the gable roof has been oriented and structurally designed to accommodate photovoltaic solar panels in the future, so it's pre-solar, it's solar ready. Corner lot. The corner lot has allowed us to completely separate public traffic from police personnel traffic. The public will enter from Memorial Drive, while the cruisers and other personnel will access the site from Chase Road. Relationship to Memorial Park. The flagpole and planting area will have a direct pedestrian link to Memorial Park.
On that corner lot, while cruisers and prisoners will access the site from Chase Road.
You got that, Dan? So for the corner lot, subtitle, cruisers and prisoners.
Helps make a distinction why you have two separate.
It's a site plan, I think. That one might go away because we didn't put the attic concept in at that, following that, huh? It must be further down.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyways, going back, this is an engineered site plan. I believe that the renderings I'm gonna show you do a much better job of projecting this into 3D with some color. So I think this site plan will just,
Go away?
yeah.
That's probably.
And I do have a slide that shows the attic level very well. I thought it followed this, but I just have it the wrong order. There's a question I had for you people. How much time do you want to spend explaining a floor plan? For instance, I don't think we should explain too much, but in all our floor plans, we have this key plan that shows a general concept of, we have a main building with a south wing. The south wing is where we have a drive-through sally port and prisoner processing and detention. But
I would highlight, I wouldn't take time to walk somebody through the building, because that just takes far too much time, but I would highlight, you know, meeting room, administration,
Sally
you know,
port.
yeah, detention area,
Detention
sally,
area.
you know, highlight the main areas, just so people
The
can get a
main things
feel for it.
we're correcting and improving.
Yeah.
Yeah, do the deficits in the old station
That's right.
versus what the improvements are here.
right.
I-
So-
I think you want to emphasize that community room.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I have a slide just on that also, by the way.
Okay.
And, yeah, so you can clearly see the south wing, which is all prisoner intake, processing, and detention. All concrete block and concrete construction. Public entry, we can talk about up here, where the public comes in. This is about the extent of the public access here and then into the community room we'll talk about. Stairs located over here to access the attic level, and admin, detectives, patrol, with roll call over there,
Can we color block that?
dispatch, yes.
And then that way when people see it, they know exactly what they're looking at, because it's kind of, it's easy for us because we've been looking at it for so long, but if you do yellow for community room and, you know, purple for,
Yeah, we could almost go, we did
Like we
that for you
did,
guys
yes,
when we
for-
first started.
right, and I
So we'll
think,
go back to
so
that.
we have to remember that a lot of people are gonna see this for the first time. Us, we understand it, but I think that we have to keep it more simple, and I think if we color block it, people will say,
Yeah.
all right, that's for that area, I think it's easier for them to relate to.
Yeah, it's a good idea, because that's what I did when we first started
Yep.
the design, right? Remember
Yeah.
the program drawing? So I'll color block it, dispatch,
Yeah,
administration.
I'm assuming if you're doing a video that you would highlight, each section would highlight as you talk about it.
Exactly, that's what you can do, stuff like
Quota
that.
section,
Yeah.
Yeah. The attic level. So again, this is the floor plan. This is much better explained in the slide that's coming up. But what's important is that it's accessed from an upper level up here, where we have all the vehicle impound auxiliary areas. All that auxiliary vehicle impound takes place over the Sally Port area on concrete plank with the fitness and storage areas behind that. Then most of these here areas back here are just service areas. Mechanical room with the boiler and domestic hot water, all the IT that is above dispatch, and we now have a radio room, so that the antenna, which is located right here, the cables come in on an ice bridge and go right to a radio room, which is the most cost-effective way to do it. So your main cables end here, and then it gets distributed. But I'll color code that up again, and I'm gonna have this other slide that we'll see come before this. It's not this one, but I like these slides, and I'm gonna do this in color also. This is a ground level space diagram. When you look at the ground level, you kinda say, that's so evident, but the second level isn't. And I think a lot of you were confused by the attic space and what kind of space it really is. But this one here is just two hatches, a single and a double hatch. The double hatch is all usable space. The single hatch is hallways and corridors. So you can see where the hallways and corridors are as opposed to the usable space. So this shows the efficiency of the plan, which our circulation area is only 12% of gross, which is a very efficient number. So this speaks to that, and it just shows that all this hatch space is actual program space right off the programming diagram.
Can we color that, too?
I'm going to color this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if we color it and leave the hall space and stuff like that in the white, it would be a good contrast and easy to understand.
And then I think it really helps up here in the attic level, the space diagram, because now you have 4 different hatches, right? You have this double hatch, which is program space, right out of the program. You have the single hatch, which is circulation, okay? Then you got this double stripe. That's all full height, future build-out space available right there. The cross hatch, which is, you know, small crosses, that is
How much is the
sloped.
future, what do you got for a figure for the future space that you?
Okay, so full height future space is 3,586
So
square
that's the
feet.
size of the building we're in now, basically?
Yes.
right? Is that what you?
A little more. You have 3,083. Future space, full height available for expansion or storage, like you said. We came up with something yesterday that maybe would want its own storage area, right, in that meeting? This is full height, future expansion. This is sloped. It starts at 0 here, then slopes up to about 9 feet by the time you get to there. And then anything double hatched is program space, single hatch is circulation. And this single hatch there was auxiliary. That's the auxiliary space for vehicle impound and whatnot. So if you take a second to study that, you can really start to understand the space in the attic. And I think color will make it even better.
And especially if you're not close to it too, you can't see all the cross hatching and stuff.
So that's the view of the attic concept.
That's a good view.
I took the view of the rendering from the back. So this shows how we dealt with the slope,
That's really good.
cutting the retaining wall. You can start the antennas in there now. Wait till you see that thing in the full. But,
It's really big.
so this shows now how you can access the auxiliary on the attic level when the community room and all the public access is down there on the first level. So the attic concept, that should have come a long time ago, I think,
That's really good.
presentation.
I mean, it's really good visual for someone to understand and see,
Mhm.
And you can see the Sally Port
and to use the
drive-through.
space, I mean, to get to the second floor.
Construction. The new station is designed for longevity and low maintenance. Rain screen construction. The building materials will always dry out with a constant airflow behind it. The airspace behind the cladding will also equalize wind pressures. So when the wind's blowing and it's raining, that airflow coming across in a different direction because of the chimney effect just breaks the drive of the wind. So no water gets driven deep into the building. Anything that gets by the cladding dries out. And then continuous exterior insulation. It completely minimizes thermal breaks. It's like building a freezer. You know, you got continuous insulation all around. The only breaks will be the windows and doors. And this is just showing it. Foundation, floor, and then continuous insulation over the whole building. Battens over that, screwed to the continuous, and then the fiber cement clapboard. So there'll be, this will constantly be bathed in air behind it. And anything driven out will just drop out and then it will dry out. Again, the best thing you can do for a community is give them a good envelope. Heating, HVAC systems come and go these days, right? You know, they're not even designed to last. And the technology changes now. You put something in, 7 years later, it's a little different, you know, or a higher rating. So the thing is envelope, because the less that equipment has to work, the better. So my focus is always on envelope, and you know, hopefully you're not changing your envelope for 70 years, but you might be changing your heating equipment these days in 12 years, believe it or not. Designed for multiple uses. The public, designed for use as a 70-person community room, which is desperately needed by this community, as we can see here tonight. That'd be a nice place to meet right now. Police use, designed to be used as an officer training room and an emergency operations center, an EOC.
I'd back up on that. Probably want to talk about police and fire use.
Oh, that's exactly, and not only that, I think, maybe subtitles under the EOC, cause a lot of people don't understand what goes into EOC, and maybe we do put police, fire, highway, you know what I mean, like all the departments that we use during an emergency situation.
And under public, I would probably put a couple of bullets like selectmen, FICOM, some of these
Other meeting places,
Planning board.
conservation, yeah, planning board, yep.
some of those.
Even as a community use, Buffalo Drive, you could go something like that
Yeah.
into a bullet. Might be good.
Press conference.
Would a picture of another department's EOC / community room help? Like we did a site tour, was it a Acushnet they had it in, also Swansea. So how it's set up, how it's already pre-done, so if news media needs a tie-in, they can, that kind of stuff. To get the idea of what it is.
I
It's
mean,
not just an empty hall that we're gonna meet in, there's a need,
Well,
it's there for a reason.
having equipment like this in it, so it is,
Either
you know,
a picture
public
or
access,
or the
cable
background
access.
to this slide, kind of a vivid,
We did
That'd be
the
good.
Plymouth
That'd be
EOC, I can give you some pictures of that.
Yeah, that would be a good one to use, actually.
Their main EOC
Yeah.
room is huge, and it has all the screens up
Yeah,
and
well, that's the
operating.
thing, we don't, ours is, since we use it as a community room, it's bigger than most. So you gotta make sure we don't wanna show a small one, so.
I can send you some pictures.
Swansea's is big.
Swansea is a big, Plymouth, if it's all set up, is,
Swansea's got a 20,000 square foot station in there. I was in that room last night, we met for the town hall.
nice, huh?
Yeah, it's nice, that's a nice station. They got a nice roll call room. It's big, and they got,
The attic.
they got an unfinished attic that they planned for.
I just feel like if this is such a selling point for it, and we're only giving it 3 bullets, I think we need to add to that.
Yeah, okay. You gonna get some pictures, Taylor? That'd be good for that. And we can also show from the exterior too in our model, there's model well, we can show the exterior of ours.
But I think too, pushing on this community room, that it will be equipped so that you don't have to bring projectors and bring equipment, you know, be part of this room. You know, no matter what it is, if it's planning board.
Like my screen from 1970, remember that night? Yeah, that's big
You
these
know,
days,
'cause
it
we
should,
need-
a town should have that, this is. So there's a slide just showing how that, it's gonna work off the vestibule and how it might be set up with some seats.
I mean, certainly can be, you know, training for others, the fire department or, you know, other
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, we'll get that in
Mhm.
sure.
That shows the other side too, the big rooms.
And that shows it pretty good right there. We're into appearance now. This would be the public approach or entrance from Memorial Drive. And you're looking right at the community room as you come in, right up the corner. So there's aerial view looking southeast now with the tower. That's a 160-foot tower. So you can see that. And
Really attractive.
what's that?
It's really attractive.
And we put the helicopter in a Memorial Park, so you can see how we made that connection now coming through. We'll develop that a little further, but
We'll put some more trees.
I think this slide tells a lot. Shows our parking, shows our community room, public entry, which is very clearly defined by this portico. Shows the drive-through Sallyport, shows the drive-up attic that now is understood from the previous slide, and you can take a hint, see a hint of the cruiser port in the back.
Where would the emergency generator be located?
Right, it's right located right here,
Okay.
right there.
So while we're here and we're looking at this tower, I think Swansea did something,
They did a mast.
yeah, but I think they entered into an agreement with.
Yeah, they paid zero for their tower, and it's as tall as this.
Yeah, so how did they do that?
Well, the guy who did it took a beating, but the guy who did it,
So can we find one of those?
Find somebody you wanna meet.
he put it up, he
People in
paid
Swansea,
every,
don't you?
they didn't pay a dime,
Yeah.
he paid for everything, and he was thinking that he was gonna get contracts from cell phone companies and get like $10,000 monthly checks. And he had permission, I think, to put 10 of those on there. So he had the potential for $100,000 a month.
I say.
Something happened where some other tower went up down the street, and it was a better one.
Oh,
So there's nothing there except the police use.
Well, there's a small plaque in the basement that says don't even buy.
So we just did something like that in Sandwich, and we had the cell company, or the tower company, design the tower so that it could hold up to 3 cell carriers. And before we pulled the trigger on that, we reached out to cell carriers in the area and asked if they would be interested, had them sign letters of interest so that they were on board for the cell tower project. So they're actually gonna be, the town is gonna lease the use of the tower, so the town gets money from the cell companies. We weren't able to do it for free, the town still had to pay for the tower itself, but they'll get kicked back. I don't know what the final negotiated rate will be, but they'll get kicked back from the cell tower every year. So it's actually a good way to, and we can talk about that with Chick when we talk more about the cell tower, but it's certainly an avenue to look at.
Yeah, I think one of the problems we have is we're not starting off at a very high ground elevation. So I think around here, we're relatively low, and I've heard that before as a problem, getting cell carriers to come in.
And Andy, where that's oriented on the property, how's that gonna affect the solar?
Well, I was talking to Dan about that.
Because where you have it right now, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
significant
the
impact.
Panels, so I'm thinking, this is becoming the auxiliary surface we still have. And we still have areas where, you know, we'd have the perfect orientation and the perfect angle, so it wouldn't be too bad. So we'd have to look at that, but that's a great point. Dan and I talked about that just today. You can see the shadow here.
Well, that's
It's
one of the
moved
things I
around.
thought.
This is probably,
You're facing almost due south there, right?
this is
Well,
probably about 3 o'clock right now, that angle, about this time of year.
It's more like 3:30.
And
Hey, but Mary, to your point, these are nice, because usually some big birds of prey put a huge
Oh, they
nest
have
up here.
osprey at the top or something,
Always.
coated nest.
And now here's coming around and looking northwest.
how big the base of that tower is? That's the scale, right?
This is the scale, this is right, perfect. It's a 160-foot tower to scale. That's what they're saying we need, because it's what, just based on what, the
Valley that we're in there.
what do they call it?
29,
The foundation
Microwave.
underneath
What's
is
that?
29 feet by
Microwave.
29 feet.
What do they call it?
Triangle,
It's
yeah,
just
29.
basic
And then
projection.
Line of sight?
Yeah.
Line of sight, it's
Pilot
just line of
aspect,
sight.
It's 21 and a half feet to each
From
of the
pilot to
pilots.
pilot.
Yeah.
So it's 20, 30 feet high.
So here you can see the cruiser port, the drive-up
They actually,
attic.
to go higher isn't that expensive.
Well, maybe we ought to look into that when we work.
What
on
it-
the other
If that's
thing.
a difference of getting a company to come in or not.
Would it
Get involved
make
with
sense
funds
that,
for that.
I know you already designed it that way, but if you swapped it over to the other side, is there room where the retaining wall is or no? Because of where the sally port is?
I know.
Yeah, it's because of the way the Sally port is, it's not as good there. This is the best place. One of the key things is you don't want a long run for your cables.
Cable's most expensive part.
Well, and these things, ice and snow, you gotta build these, ice bridges for 'em, comes down. And this has by far is the shortest run. We can get it closest to the building and right in. So I looked at a lot of different options, but that's definitely the best place. I wanted to put it up here,
Right.
but it was really just, by the time it was increasing cost of the retaining wall, it was making access into this hard, so, this seems like the spot, especially for getting into the building. So comparisons. So what's important here is highlighted up here is our finished square feet, 17,297. So here's local stations that were built in the not-too-distant future. The average is 17,332 square feet, so we're right in the wheelhouse of municipalities. Palmer's 23,000, Swansea's 20,100, Oxford is 13,709, Dennis 21,708, Athol 18,155, Webster 22,000, Wilbraham 15,008, Grafton 15,008, Orleans 18,001, Rockport 13,007, Hopkinton 17,005, Cushnet 11,100, Sudbury 17,159, Westport 17,793, Chatham 19,533. That one surprised me. Marion 9,895, Leicester 14,003, and Old Saybrook, Connecticut 22,624. How big?
It's Leicester, not Leicester.
Oh, well, I won't have to say it anyways. So how big is Westport? Just finished.
Will you say how big the community
No,
population?
no, how large is the station?
So you have Westport up there?
Is it?
Yeah.
17,793.
Was that a trick question?
Yeah.
No,
Just see if you're
See if
paying
you're paying
attention.
attention.
no, because last week I couldn't find it. I guess we got it on here.
Top right, third one down.
Okay, so this is Westport, just finished. They're moving in this week.
Is that with or without the oars?
There's Lakeville.
Without the what?
The oars for the underground river, keep the building afloat.
What about Lakeville?
9,895.
Well, Lakeville, we were gonna do a whole separate
I
slide.
know, but that was built 10 years ago.
Who?
Marion. Lakeville's 11,889.
So the idea was to do a direct comparison to Lakeville on this slide.
Okay.
We don't have it worked out yet, just a placeholder.
We're working on something. Rick and I, we're gonna do a couple different stations in the area. We're working on that slide for you. We have to break down the whole usable square footage and the built-in here to make it apples to apples. So
I have a good idea for that.
we're playing with that.
Yeah, I have a good idea. Cost of taxpayers. This slide's not ready yet, but we would do a slide that, what's it actually gonna cost the average taxpayer? And, I believe we started roughing that out and we're
Yeah, I
working
talked
on
to
it.
Kim today, so, before we have any numbers that we want out on the street, we wanna go over them one more time.
Right.
Cause
So
I
this-
think there's some things missing, so we just wanna make sure.
So a placeholder for that.
Mhm.
And then last time we ended with tasks completed to date. The slide hasn't changed, but just shows a timeline. Started in March 2017 when Pomeroy was hired. And we could actually update a few dates in here.
Yeah, we could add it to the bottom now.
But everything and anything in between, we talked about this last time. So, that would do it. We continually to bring the rendering up to speed, which now it has everything. Now we can just make it nicer and more realistic. And so we're gonna use quite a few views from there, which you saw in here, get it more dynamic, and I think we should turn it into a video.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think you're right. I think one of the things we need to do when we're doing like the verbiage for the various slides
Yep.
is remember who our audience is.
Right.
Don't use
Don't
any
try and be
acronyms.
fancy,
Yeah.
keep them like this single and two-syllable words.
It's gotta be so simple.
The average reader that you're gonna be talking to is got a 7th grade or lower reading level. That's what we teach when we teach report writing classes. Keep that in mind because that's who we're gonna be dealing with. And we don't have to prove how smart we are, just gotta get the message out to them.
They probably can't even pronounce the name of towns.
Not Leicester.
You're obviously not from Worcester.
It's up by Haverhill.
He
isn't it?
says Worcester.
That's Worcester, yeah, Mark, that's right.
Actually, I am.
No, really?
I grew up in Lunenburg.
Oh, all right.
We won't hold that.
Well, that explains it.
Explains a lot right there. Loon's right in the name.
So, not there yet, but I think closer than last time. Any ideas are welcome. Dan took some notes. If anybody has some good ideas on who might put this together as a video. I have someone in mind, if you want my suggestion, but I think we should get it, a video sooner rather than later. Get it on the website, everything else, and then we could just play the video at public outreach and then answer questions.
So you said you just did one for Swansea? Was that-
About a year ago, we
Yeah.
did one.
Do you think you could circulate that one, just so we could see?
It's probably still up somewhere,
Yeah.
right there? Yeah.
Probably late.
If the answer's yes, but it's probably still up.
Was it on YouTube at some point?
Yeah.
So it should be there.
Okay. If you could circulate the PowerPoint you did tonight, that would be great.
Yep. Okay.
One other suggestion I had, when you showed the community center as just a diagram, maybe that's where you show the diagram and then have the pictures come over the top of community centers in the area, so people, it's just a diagram, they'll visualize what it is.
And we're gonna start calling certain aspects of this presentation, police station and community room.
Yeah, even the first slide, the Freetown Police Station Community Room.
Community center.
And the color coding, that floor plan, I think that's, you mentioned doing that's, they're not gonna read all the,
No, and
I mean, maybe online we will, someone will.
This was it was a good jump from the one we looked at last.
Mhm.
That
it
is
was
good, yeah.
Definitely much more,
Down.
much more to the point, before we had too many pictures in there, and
Yeah.
that was
I
good.
agree.
But the picture's good like this, and then the diagram with the Sally Port, I think that one, looking from that view is one of the best.
Yeah.
Cause that gives them an idea how the space is being utilized.
Yeah, the added
And I
concept is
think,
key.
that's a real strength of the whole design too. Yeah, I think that's really good for people to see and understand. We're getting a lot with this because of it.
So you said the generator's gonna be located in there. What about, if we wash cruisers, where would we wash them?
So you can wash them inside, or you
Oh,
can
we
wash them
can?
outside and it goes into a tight tank. Gets pumped. Yeah.
So we have to have it pumped periodically?
Yeah, there's a tight tank out here, that's a regulation.
Yeah, you have to have it run to a tight tank.
Yep. And we got the vacuum integrated now.
Yeah, we do.
You're gonna have some hose bibs right where the cruiser parking is?
The answer's yes.
Thank you.
And, but I wanna check up on that.
Building looks pretty small against the antenna, huh?
What in?
You might even have warm or cold water bibs.
So that helicopter model's pretty detailed. Can't zoom in on it, but.
Spent a lot of time on that, did you?
Is the helicopter?
When you first said, I thought we were gonna put a heliport there, but I guess you meant the one that's already there.
I mean, the good thing too about helicopters more parking spaces too.
Yeah, we'll put those in. They're right here.
Yeah, that would be good, cause then it shows it's ample
Needs a
and that
space.
street's wide.
So schedule-wise, Andy, I know you guys had a MEP coordination meeting yesterday. Are you still on schedule to have everything,
Yeah.
really, your bid set complete by the end of August?
Yeah, 90% is due Friday. Then we're gonna send it out for quality control. Right, Dan?
QC review and cost estimate.
Okay, so can you guys send us a full set?
Well, we'll send you the link. You
Okay.
click on the link and it's right there.
All right, because we do a QC review too,
Good, excellent.
so I want to make sure we have time to go through that.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. I know I don't mean to be just jumping in, but I know we spoke when we did the DD estimate. Would you be doing a peer estimate or just a peer review of our cost estimate?
We still own an estimate that we didn't do during DD, so
Okay.
I was thinking we could send it out for a
How big
SD estimate.
grass area
As a
on
check.
on this side?
Yep. So at this stage?
At 90%, yeah.
This side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I mean,
It'd be nice
let me
to
do
have
this.
to reconcile it, you know, to
Yeah.
kind of see, to make sure that we're on track, because we are seeing some
That's what the
costs.
septic is, right? Oh, it's,
Increasing
yeah, I think we need to
rapidly.
do it, yeah.
Yeah, we want to be
So it's
careful.
level here.
Yeah,
To give you an example, this is about 38 feet, this. So you got about 40 feet, where it's almost level.
yeah,
Then it bumps up for the septic system,
yeah.
and that's about another 40 feet after it bumps up. Then you got about 10 feet to the road. So you got 40, 40, that's like 80, 90, it's almost 100 feet, but it bumps up to the septic right there. You got 40 feet of level, 40 by,
We're trying to figure out if we land a helicopter there, maybe for an emergency, but no, it's too
you know,
small.
you can land it on top of the leach field.
We need 150 feet.
So you can't, no.
Yeah.
And then here's the road, well,
Yeah, okay. It's not necessary, we've got other places.
you got 150 feet from here to there, and then maybe, and then it drops here, this is where there's
Yeah.
the detention pond. That's a drainage structure right there. There's the generator.
In between.
Right there. What was the other site question?
And we're gonna put the generator on the 3D model too.
Yeah, because that generator is, it looks a little close to the building. I think we have to be a certain distance away, otherwise we need to deal with some other barriers and stuff. And depending on the size of that generator, which sounds like it's probably gonna be pretty big, stands up out of the ground, pretty tall. Are we using diesel, Andy?
Yes.
You? Like gas?
You need to get a authorization locally to go from, to use gas, because it's not
It needs to be an uninterruptible source.
uninterruptible source, right? So there's potential that you could lose your gas service, but with the diesel, you'll have days of operation.
If you fill it up.
Well, you gotta fill it up, and if you're using it at full capacity, which you typically don't,
But you're gonna be cement board on the side, so is that technically non-combustible? Because I know your distance has changed from non-combustibles to.
Yeah, and
Combustibles with
the
generator.
engineers are all over that, they've already talked about that, so they.
Yeah, the other thing,
So
you know,
you can't
burning
use
diesel, the
LPG,
exhaust, the
carry
fumes,
LPG tank instead of a
collect
diesel.
on the,
I've
inside the buildings.
see those, diesel is actually the most performant.
No, you know, if the wind is constantly blowing it that way, we can, we can look at the generator at our meeting. We're meeting the first on finishes, right? Yeah. Make a note about the generator again. That's about it.
So when is this gonna be actually ready to go out, and when can we start formalizing our informational meetings?
Well, I could meet with a video person anytime. I got enough information to where we could have a mega video and then just edit that. I think I'm at that point.
Okay,
So the key is to get a video guy on board.
Yep.
It's too bad there's no one in town here that, I know Lake Cam, they have a real strong system. I built a room for them in the library, studio, but it doesn't seem like Freetown has anything like that, or the equivalent,
no, we're working on that.
yeah. And Lakeville gives us no coverage ever.
School.
Yes.
Well, Lake Cam is completely separate. It's not a town entity there.
Right.
It's called, yeah, it's a nonprofit. It's called Lake Cam, but it's not, I work with them a little bit because we're building some stuff into the new station. I can ask them if that's something they do.
I've had some discussions with the director down there also.
No.
Yeah.
so I could call him.
Well, I have somebody who would do it. Of course, it'd be a fee.
Well, he lives in town. The guy that runs Lake Cam actually lives in town, so maybe we could just reach out to him and ask him. You have his contact information,
Who
right?
runs it these days?
Joe?
Jose.
Yeah.
Who?
Jose and Vince, yeah.
Who used to run it?
He's, I don't know.
Was it Mike Candace?
Oh, yeah, that was a long time ago.
No, the guy that was the wedding photographer. He was on the building committee.
Bob Marshall,
Bob Marshall.
yep.
Bob Marshall, the teacher, English teacher?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the one that I worked for when I did the room.
Mhm.
My brother worked at Lake Cam.
8th grade English here.
So that'd be the next step, really, if we want to take this to video, it's time.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think that according to the timeline that is here, and I know that these are just milestones, Taylor, but you know, we have a construction start date of 10/29 with a town meeting at 10/22. But we have to also remember that we need that town meeting is a contingent approval, and we need to go to a debt exclusion after that. So, and if that doesn't pass, then this is all null and void, and then, or we have another chance to try it again within a certain amount of time. But, that being said, we really need to sell this project so we don't have to keep going out to do this over again. And, you know, those decisions will come down the road. But as soon as you're ready to go, I think the committee's ready to go, and we can start setting these informational meetings up.
Well, I could have an answer tomorrow
Okay,
on
perfect.
how long it would take this guy that I know.
Okay,
I can get a hold of him in the morning.
Yeah, I think that's the first step. Let's see what the production will take. And then, we were talking last time, Lisa, about maybe early September, starting to target the actual informational sessions so that it doesn't get stale by the time we get bids in October. But we could start sooner than that if we have the production done.
Yeah, and the more, the better on those. Keep having them until no one goes anymore.
Could you, start doing some soft, you know, releases? I don't know how it works.
We could, I know we wanna do the building tours for us, we could get, I mean, the building's there, so we
Right.
could do that whenever, I
I
would
mean,
think.
it just having the community be aware that this is coming up, even
Yeah.
if you don't have, it's not a presentation yet, but to be on
Right.
the lookout
Yeah, we
that
don't
this
need
is
any
actually
materials or
happening.
anything to do it, it's,
Right.
ain't going anywhere.
You don't wanna just start in September, you really kinda wanna start growing it now. if you
Yeah.
could.
I
Like,
agree.
just getting the word out, even putting flyers out, or getting things out there that,
You know, information's coming, we're starting our sessions in September.
Exactly.
You know, be on the lookout for what's to come, like the
Give
little
them a
teasers along the
website.
way, so it'll build not only enthusiasm, but interest into what exactly is going on. You know, we haven't heard from anybody and we don't know, and now all of a sudden we're gonna
I
start,
think
so
it's certainly
teasers.
time to get a real good website with some of our renderings on it.
absolutely.
Yeah, we can put that up.
Facebook,
And we can put things
website.
on the sign about, go to the website, you know, the two signs on either end. And we talked about the police station having an open house for a couple of days when
Right.
people can visit and walk through and see what's there,
Yeah,
and I
that's
think
what
that's crucial.
So how do you get that word out there? What's the best,
Website, sign, town sign.
Good sign, yeah.
okay,
I mean, I think once we iron down our informational meetings, we have our new one-call system, so we can, you know, use that as it's like a reverse 911 to everybody that has signed up. Now, it's still in its early stages, so I don't really know how many people have signed up, but certainly that's a start. And then we do have the new Facebook, we do have the new town website, so we can put those up on there.
absolutely.
On the town website, Lisa, can whoever manages that create like its own tab?
Yep, that
Police
subgroup,
station project. and-
that little subgroup that I started
Yeah.
with Tim, he's the one that's handling all of that, so
Okay,
he's
good.
ready to go.
So you can start putting that information out.
Yeah, and then it's not hard to find.
No,
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of people
Once the
have-
video's done, we put that right up too.
exactly. You don't
So
have to wait for
anytime
that.
anybody can click on and watch the video.
Yeah.
You also have to figure out where we're gonna have them.
The informational meeting. should be-
Think about it, yeah, think about it.
It
So,
should be in the same spot every time with the same setting, same presentation parameters, everything.
Mhm.
Big screen.
Unless there were certain groups that you needed to reach out to.
no, the problem is that if we're doing this in September, that's the start of school, and I'm not sure what they're having going on in those areas, so we certainly have to reach out to the superintendent and find out if we can reserve those rooms in uncertain days. Either one, you know, whether it be Aponequid or the middle school, we'd have to reach out to them and find out. As long as it's, you know what I mean, like early schools, when they do all their,
Okay, open houses.
yeah, and all their crazy
Parent
stuff.
meetings.
Yeah, so we wanna make sure that, that we don't interfere with that, but I don't see a problem with us using it.
So I think what's the date of the debt exclusion vote? Do you
Well,
have that set?
So it says, well, I saw it today, 10/22 for the town meeting.
Right, and then how soon after are you allowed, you usually need a little bit of time
Yep, the,
legally.
she needs, 30 days because of,
To get the information on it and
no,
print it.
she needs to do, voting registration. You have to do voter registration for all of that.
We have to remember it also has a state probably it's gotta be the general election. in
Yep.
November this year.
Right, then you have,
Can we
election in
do one without the
November.
other? Do we need town meeting vote in place to to start the procedure for a debt exclusion?
So there's two ways to go about it. There's either you do the debt exclusion first and the town meeting second. I think we all talked about that. I don't care, I don't know if anybody has changed their mind on that. So you do the debt exclusion first, and then you do the town meeting after, and the town meeting would, make the appropriation for the money. So first we vote on spending the money, and then at town meeting, we vote to, to go forward with that, or,
On the
so.
ballot, there's no money.
No, it's just to say, yes, we
Yeah,
want this
it's yes
police
or no,
station,
right.
and then town meeting will, set to spend the money. So there's two ways to look at it.
Could we do it though concurrent? Was more of a
Wouldn't it
question.
be better to have
No,
the town
you
meeting
have to have a
first?
ballot.
I think so.
Well,
Can you set up
that's
the
what they
ballot
do.
so it's on the
Oh,
general
that's all
election,
right.
even though
Yeah.
we haven't had the meeting, we'll have the meeting in between,
It's kinda
but
hard
the
to
ballot
hear
will be on the
everything
general election?
this-
The state primary election? No, there's a thing on there that says.
I think it's better to
that
go
has
the way
to do
we're
by
going
September
now,
15th.
with
in
the
order
town
to
meeting
have it.
first and the debt exclusion second.
That's what it says right here. What did you say?
I said, I think it's better to go the way we have it planned now. Town meeting first and then debt exclusion. That way we can have the information out and people have an idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I was just asking Lisa procedurally if we
Okay.
could run concurrent. So, put it on for because we're already having a November election.
Yeah.
It's state and federal election in November. So, if we could do it so the town meeting is still all targeted for the 22nd, but we have to give notice by the September 15th
Yeah.
to do the debt exclusion for the November,
Okay.
that November meeting. I don't know procedure if you can do that or not. That was all. I was just trying to save the town another election, another polling station, all that.
I think we were told that you could, but it would have to be on a separate ballot. But that's something definitely to look into. You could have two ballots. You don't want to confuse people, but that's what typically happens. I think we were just talking about that last night, right? You have a different colored ballot for the state local elections versus the federal, and then for the project. So we're saying then, realistically, when is that date? Was it November 2nd or something?
That's not set in stone either, right? The 10/22?
No, the first Tuesday in November would be, I don't know.
Okay.
State's got a big gap.
So we really wouldn't be able to award the project until after that.
A lot of
Right.
people may not come up.
So we'd have to make those adjustments, okay.
As long as you don't have any contestants getting the races.
So that's why, the sooner we can get this out on the street and the sooner we do our informational meetings, the sooner we can we don't have to wait until 10/22 for the,
No.
town meeting. We can do that
All the people that
as soon as we feel that we have enough momentum and our informational meetings are done, we can schedule that meeting sooner rather than later. We don't have to wait till 10/22. If we're gonna do informational meetings all of September, then we can do that vote in early October. But, I mean, it's a tight schedule, but that's why we've been working for a year and a half on this. You know what I mean? And now, we're ready for the shovel to hit the ground, and we need to move forward. We can't stop what we've done so far, and I think that, we really do need to stop pushing.
I'll get on the phone, we're ready, this could go to draft, video draft right away,
Okay.
and I'll get on that guy tomorrow. If anyone else has any ideas, email me as far as the video audio.
So if we can get the video part of this done within the next 3 weeks, then yes, and then we start talking about it within those 3 weeks, then yes, on September 1st, we can start our informational meetings. And then we can do that all of September, and then October, maybe the first week in October, that's when we do our town meeting. And then November 1st, or close to November 1st, that's when we can do our debt exclusion. So we're a little off the timeline if we can stick to that, but not that far off.
And the plan is to still go to town meeting with a bid in hand.
Yes.
Yes. They get the 10th, the GC
So
bids
then
at
we're
the
gonna
10th.
sell it.
That's what I'm pushing.
Thanks for the hospital.
So, yeah, we'll have to talk about, what I'm gonna do to this schedule too is I'm gonna put the ballot vote in there, I'm gonna put the central register notifications in there, all those things that we need to take care of. And we'll just have to, coordinate exactly where the GC bid falls, and the town meeting is, because their bid is only good for 30 days.
We could request an extension.
Yeah, we could
Yes,
request an
typically
extension,
it's
but-
30 days by law.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at going the other way, not that way, we're looking at getting, as soon as we get that GC bid in hand,
Exactly.
going to
We're
town
ready.
meeting.
Yeah.
So, again, though, we're not that far off, we said like the first week in October, so you say 10/10, but if we can push that our way a little, that would be great. Or-
Earlier.
Yeah,
So we need 6 weeks for a bid period, at least, a minimum.
Yeah.
And we're looking to complete everything by the end of August.
How,
So I'm not so
We're-
sure how that's gonna work.
we're
It's pretty
close.
tight where it is, to be honest.
on the bid documentation for bid, available for bidders on the 29th, do you have room in that, or do you pretty much need every,
We need that,
you need that every day
We need
then?
more of that, more than
Yeah.
that.
we need that.
That's what's putting it out to 6 weeks after that, right?
6 weeks
It's
after
10.
that, yeah.
10/10.
Yeah, it's actually as slim as you can get it right now. Because we need the 6 weeks for bidding.
And it doesn't leave any room for anything that could go wrong with the
No.
bidding process, which happens.
I mean, you could slim it up to 5 weeks for bidding, but you don't gain much, and I think you're taking
A risk.
the risk of,
Yeah.
trying to have them put together a quick bid.
And you may lose some interest, if it's becoming too much work for them to do it, they're just not gonna do it. We're already hearing that we're not getting full coverage on a lot of the trades, so
What would be the downside of waiting?
we need to make sure that's all covered. The only other thing, Taylor, that I wanna make sure that we coordinate with the town and yourself is the front end documents, the contracts, all of that.
We
we
have
need
a
to-
number.
I don't know what they're using for a contract.
Once we get that,
Do you have
as soon as we
a
get
draft
that GC
that
bid,
you guys typically use?
We have
Can't
a
we
couple
just
of
use
different
it as a-
options,
Yeah.
either a custom or a AAA, but
The town hasn't really done a building
their favor,
project in a
right?
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't
We're
have
not
a,
gonna
You know how many
spend on it.
contracts you use?
I talked to council.
If you're going at a million, about 13.
who's your town council?
We have examples.
No, at 12.
Okay,
Try to
so
keep it
they're,
15,000.
Copeland will have
We're not
ones
gonna-
that,
it's gonna be
that we've used with them. I can send you some examples, and that it should be fine with them, so.
like I said, we've used custom or we've used AIA.
Yeah,
AIA gets a little messy because it's a license that you have to,
I said that.
there's a lot of supplemental instructions that go with it,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, we have one that we've
supplemental
used
conditions.
with Copeland that I know they're happy
See
with,
what's
so.
Yeah,
closed out.
that's good.
revenues for the-
Not yet.
No. Should be in right now.
All right.
So, they're gonna do borings tomorrow
Good.
and Saturday. They got an ATV rig, they'll be in there, we cut, we teamed up with the highway department. And, we got it all cleared, it was, it was really thick in there. So, we got it cleared to do, we're gonna do, borings tomorrow and Saturday. I think about, we're hoping to get 9, and then 6 test pits on Monday morning with the backhoe.
Great.
What does that tell us?
Oh, well, we've already done quite a few test pits, and we've already done the perk test. We're just hoping that this verifies, we're just doing more spots, really, and get verification. It's gonna tell, the borings will tell us about bearing. We have it located in key areas of the building where the loads are highest.
This is going deep into the ground, deeper into the ground for soil.
And the test pits are gonna look at drainage that's going under the parking lots.
Is Majid doing those for you guys?
Yeah. Andrew.
All right, anything else?
The only other thing would be is, I think, it'd be worth our while, I think we talked about this last time, and we maybe voted on it, is maybe bringing a well consultant on, who would, basically make the specs of the well and would be all ready to drill, because That's not gonna be in the contractor's package, he's not gonna own the well, right?
No, it'll have to be separate. That.
So,
All right, let's talk about that offline.
at least get the consultant on board. We talked about it last time, we don't wanna roll the dice and start drilling it, right?
Mhm.
So, at least get the consultant on board.
Did we vote on that last time?
Yeah, we did.
I thought so.
Yeah. You
So
guys voted to-
I have 3 names that I got. I'll call each one, and then,
So basically, we moved forward to start the consulting part of it, not any actual work for it.
Right.
Okay, anything else?
Just the last quick highlight on owner vendors. Chief and I have been in contact with Chickland Going, and we're gonna be starting to talk about the bid processing for radios, which is our biggest communications expense. So the plan is to hopefully get some numbers on that before we get any GC bids in too, so that we know where that number is falling. And we're gonna start talking about furniture too. So those are happening kind of behind the scenes. That was it.
Anything else from the committee? All right, so Andy, just to recap, you're gonna start working on the video tomorrow?
I'll talk to him tomorrow, then circulate an email
Yep,
on what he says.
okay, perfect,
And the biggest thing is timeline, we need someone who's gonna get on it.
right. All right, so just keep us in the loop on that?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
As far as our next meeting, why don't we wait to see what that production is? And it might be good to have our next meeting when we have a video to review. Because before then, it's gonna be things happening really offline. I know the chief's meeting with Andy on finishes.
Yeah, we're really busy right now with the CDs. That's our main thing.
We'll have a screening party.
Yeah. For me.
No one wants a star in the video? We didn't narrow it in.
We'll talk offline. All right.
Nobody?
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Like, well, you want me to be the narrator, or you want me to find one, or does someone want to be the narrator?
Oh, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So moved.
Do I have a second
To adjourn.
to adjourn?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.